Hello, I'm Elizabeth Nancy Jansen, and today is day 16 of our 22 Days of Truths. And this is in my series before the launch of my book, Bride Doll. And I'm so excited because the launch day is going to be August 17th. And this being day 16, before the launch, we're getting closer and closer. And I'm so excited that you've been joining me along these days of excitement and the truths of preparation for this launch. And today's truth is the truth that I want to tell you about is that I am teachable. Now, I wasn't always teachable. And I want to get right into the book. And the first characters in the book, the generational characters. So Adele wasn't that teachable. Neither was Etta. They were rigid thinkers. And these thinkers, they were essentially carved in stone, their thoughts about essentially their religious, cultural beliefs and their language, their mother tongues were tied up with intertwined with their religious beliefs. So Adele was her French Canadian Catholic religion that was intertwined, and Etta was her Anglican English upbringing that was intertwined, and Etta and Monique, her upbringing, and Flynn with Etta being his mother and his upbringing and her upbringing, they were at polar opposites when Monique and Flynn were trying to get married. So there was all kinds of combustion going on. So bringing it back to my topic of being teachable, when you have rigid thinking, there's not much being teachable being allowed to happen. And in my journey of life, and certainly in my love journey, becoming more teachable is the life lesson that I have learned. And hopefully in my coaching, that's what I want to be able to unravel for people and make that evident in other people's lives. Now, in Naya, the main character of this book, in her life journey and in her unraveling or her development, her character development, you can see in her relationship with Simon, Simon was very much a rigid thinker, and he was the product of his environment. So his parents were very much from the Catholic Protestant upbringing, and Naya was essentially from the Catholic upbringing, sort of, mixed in there. But to his family, she was from the wrong side of the tracks. She was the less than. And Simon made her feel that way. You know, she was not worthy of. She had to qualify. She wasn't smart as him. So why did he even want to have a relationship with her? Well, he could control her. He felt superior to her. She fulfilled his need to feel appreciated, where he wasn't getting that at home, perhaps. So there's all kinds of codependency going on there. So then, as Naya, Naya needed to fill into his needs, his gaps, and she did that. She did that very well. She did the saran wrap kind of thing. So going on in my own life, getting into my own life journey, I came from very humble beginnings, and I came from a place where it took me a while to expand my sense of knowledge from being able to bloom in terms of being able to absorb life lessons, to absorb other ways of thinking, becoming a little more worldly, understanding other cultures, wanting to understand other cultures, being able to travel. That little squeaky noise going on is my little puppy in the room playing with her toys. Oh, yep, she's got her little ice cream cone thing happening here. And being wanting to be in other cultures, merging, wanting to sense being comfortable in other people's cultures, and wanting to mix, wanting to be friends with other people's, as opposed to being in isolation and wanting to separate. Being a Canadian is being in the melting pot. We call ourselves the melting pot. I'm speaking for myself now. What I've learned is, in my understanding of racism, I've learned that, and I have to unlearn it. Right now in Canada, we're feeling very badly about what's happened with our First Nation people. And, we're finding unmarked graves in residential schools for Indigenous people. And it's making us very, very sad. And there's a lot of history there, and I don't even have the authority to talk about it. But what I can tell you is I grew up in Sault Ste. Marie, and there was a Shinwalk home, and it was a residential school, and these children were scooped from, their homes in their reserves or wherever they were living in their own communities. And I don't have any right to speak about with any knowledge, but I do know that there was a Shinwalk home, and that, so I do know that this residential home was there for children, First Nation children that, were essentially there because, to take them into a culture and educate them, where, to take their culture out of them. That was the goal, the original goal, the history of it. And that's so sad. And Canadians are reflecting on that now. And, it's taking someone's culture is stealing. It's stealing of their heritage and their right. And I'm only speaking from this Canadian, not from anywhere else. And, being a Catholic myself, I'm more spiritual than I am religious, but, from this person, speaking for myself, I do apologize. I do say I'm sorry for what has happened to our First Nation people. And I'm so sorry. But, showing respect and regret to these population of people that was denied, this whole history. So that's another whole story, another whole reality that I have no control over, but I can say I'm sorry. I can. And I am teachable. I want to bring that to the forefront. And it may take writing this book, but, that's my example of being open and being willing and being ready to say, I want to learn more about this. I want to, I'm not considering myself a martyr in any way. I want to be respectful. I have friends, new friends, that, that I want to know more about this and take some responsibility, be it so little, but, make a change. I can be one little drop in the bucket, but that's one little drop. So, being teachable. And, I have, since 2008, I've made some big changes in my life. And you've heard about them in the earlier beginnings of these truth videos that I'm doing. And, I've really changed my thinking, and becoming teachable has been right from the beginning. And that's really been the starting point of me making my change and making a major transformation is what I'm going to say. And, being open. But I've also started having, since 2008, spiritual advisor. And I can remember asking, I say the Serenity Prayer. I pray and I meditate. And the Serenity Prayer is one prayer I say every day. And it's, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I got thinking about this word, wisdom. What's that all about? I kind of was overthinking the word wisdom. So I was talking to him about it, and he said, wisdom. And it just rolled off the top of his tongue. Enlightened reasoning. Well, isn't that right? Of course, that's what it is, enlightened reasoning. And all these years of life experience, of course, we should have some wisdom. We should have some enlightened reasoning. And, I do have enlightened reasoning after living these years. And so does Naya in this book, this beautiful book of, how she traveled through her whole life, the generational loves of her grandmothers, what she learned from her own mother, and what she learned from her own life of her marriages to Simon and to Fernando, and what she had to learn through her own challenges of substance abuse, and then building herself up again, and finding self-love, finding self-worth, self-confidence, determination to be successful within herself, and to find that light within her. And she did that all by being teachable again. Oops, little puppy. What are you doing down there? And, to find that light within her. And that's which sparked her interest, her wanting to pull more love and more knowledge in, to be more enlightened. So as the story goes, she develops more and more interest in where she goes in life and what she does, and all of her creativity. I'm just going to get my little puppy here, who wants to be part? There, this is Dolly. And this is a cute little story too. Dolly is 8 months old. Dolly. And doesn't she have a cute name? And why? After my book, Bride Doll. She's had a busy day out in the pasture here. She, a little Maltese, but she thinks she's a farm animal. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so enlightened reasoning, and going through life as Naya has, and as a reflection of the author, me, and as of 2008, developing internal growth, and shedding the things that I didn't like, and gaining all these new things. Like, who knew I could paint? Like this painting, I love it. And I just did that about a month ago. And it's layers of acrylic paint, and I never worked with gold leaf before, and I wanted to experiment with it. And I thought I did a pretty good job. I'll try some more of that. I never thought I'd do a lot of things that I love to do. And having one of the things I also love to do is talk to people. I talk to people all the time now, and I love having new relationships, building new relationships, and nurturing the ones I have, be it with family, be it with, you know, prior to the pandemic, I got to see my sisters rarely. Now we talk every Sunday night at 7 p.m. like clockwork. We're on Messenger video talking, and so our relationship is actually better since the pandemic started. Too bad of the pandemic, but some good things have rolled out of it. The relationships are so important. Nurturing the friendships that I do have. I have a girlfriend that I have had in Sault Ste. Marie since age 3, and we message almost every day. And I nurture that relationship. Like, how many people can say they've got a friend since age 3? Not that this is a test or a measure of who's got the oldest friend, but I'm pretty proud of that. And so is she, that we're friends since age 3. So friendships are so important to nurture. And if I don't like losing touch with friends, but I love making new friends as well. So coming back to the topic of being teachable like new situations, but also looking at it from someone else's position. If there's a situation of conflict or something that's different from what I think of or believe in, well, don't be a rigid thinker. Just don't do that. Or I don't want to do that. I speak for myself. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to think about it or change my position. Think about it and move it a little bit and try to think about it from the other person's position. Put myself in their place. That's what I want to do. I want to be teachable, and I get better at it. And I don't really want to be around rigid thinkers anymore. They're not really my people anymore. So, I just don't gravitate or magnetize toward them. Or I try to model different behaviors and coach. Certainly in my coaching practice, kind of identify other ways of thinking or model other ways of behavior that might suggest other ways of thinking. So being teachable is something I want to do and get better at it. And I love the way my life is going, and I love that I am teachable. And it's a word that I didn't use in my younger life, but it's a word that I love to use now. So hopefully you've loved the topic today. Much love from me. Bye-bye.